Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the NKR YouTube channel. My name is Mahima Rao, and I'm an intern here at NKR. Today, we have with us Zoe Stephens, author of Navigating North Korea's Identity, a cultural theory examining of naming practices and implications for engagement with the DPRK. This paper, which you can find in our Spring 2024 issue, examines how the international community refers to the DPRK, further analyzing the subtle connotations of different terms used to refer to the state, and also considers how these choices impact diplomatic engagement. So before I go ahead, Zoe, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Zoe. Thank you for the introduction. I am a PhD student at NCKU, which is National Cheng Kung University in Tainan, in Taiwan. I'm about to enter my third year. And previously, I did studies in international communication studies and international security and global governance, both at UK universities for my master's, my MA and MSc. And I have a background also in languages as well. So actually with this paper, we see all of my three kind of areas of interest and expertise in language, in politics, and in communications as well. I am originally from the UK, but haven't lived there for the past 10 years or so. I've been mainly based in East Asia, where I've been working in North Korea. So that's kind of where all of this stems from as well. My experience with North Korea first comes from engaging with it, working inside there as a North Korea tour guide. And then from there, I went into academia. So, yeah.
Oh wow, that's really interesting background. I don't think I've met a lot of people who've actually been in there. That's wonderful having you here with us then.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll jump right into my first question. Um, how do you think the cultural, or do you think the cultural practices behind naming North Korea reflect a broader aspect in North Korean identity or societal structures?
You mean for North Korea or for the international community?
Um, a little bit of both, but I think maybe just North Korea itself internally.
Okay, so internally, yes, definitely. One of the first things that we will brief tourists on when going to North Korea is not to call it North Korea, even though that is the go-to for most people. In fact, most people don't even know the word DPRK, which is its official name. And this is because, and I argue for this in the paper, but it's interesting how the policy has kind of shifted. So before I wrote the paper, North Korea was still focused on reunification. And if you ever speak to any North Korean, they will tell you that the one thing that they desire is reunification. They want to be reunified with the South. Those are their brothers, yeah, that was their goal. Everything about North Korean society was focused on reunification. However, this has changed now. The recent policy sees South Korea as an enemy state, but that's a kind of interesting development. Previously, yeah, North Korea would never refer to itself as the North. There was no North-South divide in the consciousness of Koreans, because it was never separated. You know, they are one Korean peninsula. And you would see in the propaganda everywhere, Chosun Hanada, which means like Korea is one. You would see it in the pictures of the Korean peninsula map. It would never have a line through it. It would always be one peninsula. And so it's not just reflected in, it's not just a name, it's really about their consciousness, or at least it was about their identity. We are not North Korea, we are, the DPRK. There's no North and South here. So I think that's one of the most important things. And it would never be a problem if you say North Korea or South Korea to a North Korean, but you would be corrected on it. You would even just as a tourist, the North Koreans would be like, by the way, we don't say North Korea, we don't say South Korea, we are one Korea. So you can call us DPRK. And if you want to refer to South Korea, you can like refer to it Southern Korea or Northern Korea, things like that. Just a note on the international aspect of things. I think how we refer to North Korea really reflects on our consciousnesses about how we see North Korea as well, and how we refer to it not as North Korea actually, but as we refer to it as a hermit state, as an evil dictatorship, as a mysterious country. Those are things that I didn't even get around to exploring in my paper, but definitely relevant and, you know, definitely worth further exploration.
Yeah, I think your topic is quite relevant now, considering what happened during the opening ceremony for the Paris Olympics, where they mistakenly
Oh,
called South Korea the DPRK. So just moving on
yeah,
from,
right.
yeah, I think it was just really quite a debacle. But going on from that, my next
Yeah.
question would then be, how can understanding North Korean naming conventions for international engagement sort of improve diplomatic or humanitarian efforts in North Korea?
I think number one is respect. You know, I also run like social media channels that show you know, videos and stuff inside North Korea, and I have interviews where I interview North Koreans. And the one question that I get asked a lot is, how are you able to get this content? How are you permitted to do this? And my argument is always, I am able to video anything that anyone is able to video. Any of my images, any of my pictures, anyone else can take as well. The only difference is maybe with the interviews and when I actually have people on camera with me, they would probably not do that with anyone else because one, they don't know them, they don't trust them, and two, they know that I respect them. I'm not going to ask them any difficult questions. I'm not going to deliberately put them in a different light. My engagement with North Korea and working there has been based on a foundation of mutual respect. And I think that that is the basis for anyone that wants to work with Korea, because they know that they are disrespected in the international community. So they are working like not on a mutual basis. They know that they are like way under here. And so you calling their country DPRK and openly offering up that respect automatically has them brought up a little bit. And it's just these little things that really can affect things. And it's something so easy and so simple and so clear for those who have engaged, have worked in the DPRK, that this is such a big issue that I'm really surprised that it's not in any policy documents, you know, and it's not, you know, it is not more out there that this is how you need to talk to North Koreans, because the minute that you use the word North Korea, they will be offended. So and that's not what you want from trying to engage and things like that. And I think it just all starts from respect, and respecting people in the world that we see now with our pronouns and things like that, trying to be very respectful of people and accepting. It is really shocking how yeah, people you know, the DPRK is not involved in this. It doesn't matter. We'll call it North Korea because the DPRK doesn't matter. Like North Korea doesn't matter, so why should we care? But I think that's the number one thing, is showing respect.
Yeah, fair enough. And just because, well, not, I don't think that there's a lot of engagement with North Korea, because again, we call it like a hermit state. So my final question is then, were there and what were the primary obstacles in gathering this information for your examination of naming practices for North Korea? Like, did you have any issues trying to figure this out, or you just knew because you were already inside the
Yeah,
country?
I mean, yeah, I knew it from my own experience, but that was the most difficult thing, was trying to then translate that into research and how I can explain this. Oh, okay, I know that this is happening, but how can I explain this in a meaningful and useful way in research so that I can prove an argument and actually make it useful. And I think so originally I had two surveys, and I had a group of North Korean experts that I'm part of anyway, that I just sent it to them and was able to get some really interesting responses. But they were limited responses. So that is that was the first obstacle, was that it was good for qualitative analysis, but I think in terms of quantitative analysis, my survey responses were quite low. And the second thing is my second survey, which didn't make it to the paper, but that was had North Koreans in there, and it basically asked them very simple questions on how do you feel when people say the word North Korea compared to DPRK. And because I was only able to collect a really small handful of responses, it just wasn't enough to put into the paper at the end. But that would be the number one limiting factor in anyone who's trying to involve North Koreans in their research, is it's just so difficult. And I wasn't trying to involve defectors. I was trying to involve North Koreans who are North Koreans who live in North Korea. You know, so that there is a big gap in missing out North Koreans from our research, because there is no way for them to partake in these kind of surveys. And even for someone like me with connections with someone with North Koreans living outside of North Korea, it's still very limited, and it's very difficult to ask them to take part in these kind of things, understandably.
Yeah, oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, because I was wondering, did you go to defectors, or were these actually people living in North Korea? But yeah, that's really
Because
interesting.
defectors have a very, yeah, there's lots of research that uses defectors,
Mhm.
and it's very difficult because they don't represent North Korean people who are currently living in North Korea. They represent defectors only.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay. So those are all of my questions for today. It's been really interesting actually talking to you about your paper.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, so thank you for your time. Thank you to the viewers for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this. So goodbye.